Just got through the probation meeting, changed up some plans that they had for me, and requested to go back to court. So even when I thought that I was done with that whole thing, I realized I still had some rights that are being violated that I can challenge. So I'm not going to talk about my game plan. I'm sure these people already know what I'm going to do. But I'm going back to court and request them to explain to me why they told me one thing and then did another thing. And go from there. So I'm still in the battle. I've seen, since I left that place, I have seen more emergency response vehicles than I've seen in a long time. Saw a roadway emergency crew, like tow truck or crane. They specialize in auto accidents, like on the freeway, stuff like that. They're trained in like flipping cars over in one lane, special techniques that not all tow truck drivers are trained in. Sometimes they have an overturned car that needs to be flipped over, and they can't flip it over from one lane to the other because they only have the one lane blocked off. And there's certain techniques that they need to use to do that, and it's not easy. I've seen oh, here's another Phoenix PD right here. I've seen, actually not just seen, I've worked with, there is another battalion chief. That is the third battalion chief that I've seen since I left my house. The battalion chief usually only shows up to like a 3-alarm fire or bigger, a huge incident. That's some pretty rare odds right there. But anyway, I've worked with, they used to have at the airport where I worked at Crash Fire Rescue, we did auto extrication, and I helped teach auto extrication classes. Man, there's really, I waited till I get okay. I'm trying to flip this so I can show some traffic here. There are more emergency vehicles anywhere. Anyway, saw on my truck in the doorway of the vehicle that the person needs to be extricated out of. You clip the you clip different parts of the car, and you put those rams in between the door jambs, and it's a hydraulic system, and it pushes the vehicle forward and back at the same time, and it basically peels the car off of the person. We carried airbags, cutters, spreaders, jaws alive, all that stuff. And I was trained in all of that. I checked that equipment every single day. And we had these tow truck drivers would come out, and they would do training with us and how to do that. So that's just a quick explanation of that. Some tow truck drivers are specially trained to do auto incidents on the freeway and stuff like that, tight spaces. But yeah, so pulling out of getting some food. That guy was parked in the parking lot. And then a battalion chief drove by, and I always notice when the battalion chief comes by, because you never see the bat chief out. You see him at like city meetings, speaking with public officials, working on funding, or at a huge fire. It's got to be like 3 alarm or larger. Otherwise, you don't see the battalion chief. I saw him, and then I've lost track of how many police cruisers I've seen. And let's see, just now I just passed the 3rd different battalion chief vehicle. So there's either a meeting on mass casualty incident training, some kind of funding training, or funding meeting, I mean. Or something's going on, I don't know. But there's a lot of them out today. So I'm on my way to go pay my rent, which I used to own a home, used to pay a mortgage. And I've talked about that. Sold my house in California. A few days later, my wife disappeared, and my life turned upside down. That we were going to sell that house to build a new house out here by the racetrack, by the I think it's called the ICR now, or ISM racetrack. It's the NASCAR track. It's a few miles from my house. We were going to build a normal size house out there on a little piece of property with the money that we had from selling my house in California, and then all hell broke loose, and I ended up using that money to survive over the last 3 years. There wasn't a huge profit from it. There was enough for a down payment. Anyway, so now I rent, or continue renting. We were renting just for the time being. And I've talked about this before. I tweeted a bunch about it. Trump got the, Special Forces went in and got the, however you say it, and the second in command for ISIS, which has taken former leaders forever to do nothing about, and which actually it's pretty much confirmed that Obama and McCain helped create ISIS. I've seen photos of John McCain with those guys, and McCain is from Phoenix. The leader of ISIS was named Baghdadi. In Phoenix, there's a hookah lounge and coffee shop right next to the place I pay my rent, where I get harassed. There's 3 places I get harassed the most. That's at the grocery store. No, well, 4. The grocery store, my house, Walmart, and this place where I go pay my rent. It's called H&H Management Incorporated. The property is owned by a corporation at Salt Lake City, Utah, where the UN has gone in recently and taken over the convention, declared it international property. And the other piece of property is owned by a corporation here in Phoenix called Mediterranean Kings, LLC. So I don't know what all those connections are, but when I notice things and I connect a few dots, I put that information out so all of the digital army can research and investigate that. That's pretty much my role in this thing. I don't have enough time to put the long-term research into these investigations. I did for a long time into organized stalking, harassment, FISA abuse, DHS, trafficking, stuff like that. I got to the point where all I ever do is work now, so I just have time to make videos while I'm on my way from one point to another. And pass on the information that I notice, so people can research that. So I hope that you all are doing that, or y'all, wherever you happen to be. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you what this place looks like. Hopefully my live stream will keep going. It won't get interrupted anymore, and app won't crash. If it does, I'll just start it again. Just noticing my video here, how washed out the video is. That makes no sense. This camera on this phone is really high quality. Shouldn't be doing that. Who knows, could be getting a little help from our friends. So they said that they know who the new leader of ISIS is. And that shouldn't be long until they get that guy. And pretty soon nobody will want to be the leader. And pretty soon hopefully ISIS will be gone. Here we go, pulling into enemy territory here. So I called these guys yesterday. I should say these ladies. It's pretty much all women that work in this office, because I realized that my ex-wife, her name is still on my lease. Her name is still on my water bill, and I don't know who's getting in my house. And I'm not blaming her, but there's just a possibility that it could be. I don't know. I hope not. I still miss her. I still care about her. I'd like some answers, so I know for sure. But there's a possibility that she could be legally entering my house because her name is still on the lease and on my water bill. So I called these guys to tell them, hey, I need to take her name off of the lease. I need to get that taken care of. And the lady, I recorded the call, of course, like I always do. The lady got pissed at me. Well, we're not going to take her off the lease. What if you trash the house and leave it there? We need to go after both of you. And I was like, can you explain to me why you're talking to me like that? I'm just asking you a question. And all right, I'm going to park here in front of the Jesus is Lord Church. It's all right, Willie, don't bark. Jesus is Lord. So I might be completely wrong about this place. I'm just showing some coincidences, and people, not the rental agency, but this Baghdadi Hookah Lounge and coffee shop. Could be Indian. I don't know. I have no idea. And it could be just a coincidence. So I'm just putting this stuff out so people can research. So anyway, I asked them if they could take her off of my lease. And after I asked that lady why she was talking to me like that, I heard the phone just get set down. And then another lady picked up on the phone. I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna start this whole question all over again. I said, hey, can you take her off the lease? And they said, well, no, she's entitled to half of the deposit, so you need to contact her, give her her half of the deposit, and then pay the deposit again. Which I've tried to contact her over and over. I've tried to find a way to contact her for the last couple of years because I wanted to ask her some questions. I mean, it was my wife. Just after 9 years, all of a sudden, I just didn't see her anymore. And so I don't have any way to contact her, make that happen. And turns out to take her name off of my water bill, they need the updated lease agreement with my name only on it. So I can't do either one of those. You know, whatever. So anyway, I'm going in here. Excuse me, Willis. Let me go in here and pay my rent. I'll have my camera on this time, so they probably won't harass me as much when I'm in there. Who knows? All right, air's on. Willis, you chill out. I'll be right back. All right, so doesn't look like they're open right now. But yeah, check it out. The Baghdadi Hookah Lounge and Coffee Shop. Baghdadi Hookah Lounge and Coffee Shop. Is that Arabic? Is it Indian? I don't know what writing that's in. I'm not sure. I have no idea. What's this say right here? Probably just says something about some event they have. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, and there's a guy yelling basically over here in Arabic. I don't know. Maybe we should go talk to him and ask him. Wear some shades. Hello. Just need to pay my rent.
Do you know the amount, or you
I
want
don't
to
know the amount. Yeah, I need to. It's always a surprise.
What's the number on the house?
906 South 118th Lane, Avondale, Arizona. Hey,
Hello.
how you doing?
Good. You being helped?
Yeah, she's helping me right now. Thank you.
Okay, it's $1,537.50.
What extra charges are on there?
150 for an HOA violation and $24 for the certified mail.
What is the HOA violation?
I don't know. Let me look it up.
Okay.
Oh, it's for the trailer that you have on the property?
I don't have the trailer on the property anymore. I park it in a.
Here, you can look at it.
Yeah, it's parked in front of my house so I can drop things off. So if they come
No,
by,
you can't.
I can't park my trailer in front of my house for a couple hours to unload things?
Well, I don't see why you couldn't do it for a couple hours.
Yeah, so how long was it there? Do they have,
I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe you should call him.
yeah,
I'll give you a copy of it. You don't have to pay it right now.
yeah.
Call him and ask him to take it off.
I, I get harassed there as much as I do here.
Did you get this piece of mail?
What's that?
Did you get this?
No, I just went through all of my mail yesterday. And I never get a notification. I always find out if I have a violation when I come here.
You never get them?
I have not received one. And then I call the HOA management, and then they explain to me that they sent out 6 copies, but I've never received one.
Well, we send it out certified
Good.
also.
I have no receipt of certified anything to my home.
We have the receipt.
You have the
that
receipts.
we sent.
So how are they saying that they deliver that? To me in person? Don't I have to sign for it?
Not the certified that we sent.
Okay, so there's no proof that I actually got it.
No.
Yeah.
We have the proof that we mailed it to you.
Yeah, but there's no proof that I'm receiving it. So I go through something called organized stalking and harassment, and the post office is actually part of that. And I have verification from like former FBI agents and stuff like that. But I go through
Well,
this.
go
So
ahead and explain
I'm not
it.
getting that.
Well,
and
how are we supposed to get mail to you? Do you have any way?
signature requested.
Okay.
I'll pay the dollar.
All right.
Okay. Okay, well, whatever you have to do, because I'm not getting it, and I want proof. Oh, I'll go ahead and pay it. Charge me the $7. I'll pay it.
Well, we charge $25.
Yeah, there's always something. Okay, so
But the thing is, call the HOA.
Mhm.
Here's the phone number down
Mhm.
here. Just don't pay this right now. Talk with this woman and see if she'll take it off. Explain to her that you only had it on the property for a couple hours, and ask her, you know, what are you supposed to do?
yeah,
If we
what's the
have
time frame?
to-
Because there's people in my
There
neighborhood
should
that
be
have
fine for a couple
RVs and
hours.
campers, and they park them there for 3 or 4 days, and I don't see any issue with those people. I'm pretty sure
Right.
they're not paying that.
I
That's
would
why I went and
think
got
that
a,
that would be okay, and ask them if there's like paper that you have to fill out to get a waiver to have it there. Let me give you the right amount without the.
Oh, God. I'll just go ahead and pay $1,500. I don't want to write another check. You guys can give me a credit.
Okay, it's $1362.50. You want to just give me the $1,500?
No, I'm gonna give you $1,500 and then I'll just have a credit. Because I already started making out my check. You told me $1,500 to start with. I started making out my check and I'm not writing another one, so.
All right. And then, if you can, then give us a call and tell us that they took it off, and then I'll call, verify it, and I'll take it off your account.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
You want a receipt?
Yeah, please. And
I know the HOAs are really.
H&H man.
yeah, I'm sure you guys hear a lot about it, but yeah, I get a little extra from the people in my neighborhood also
Okay,
that I've documented over the last 3 years.
Yeah, there are
I've got-
some people that do.
I've got Air Force training on how to document situations and events, and I've done it for the last 3 years and proved what's going
yeah,
on.
it's on Lockbox, I'll tell you how to get into it and look at it. We ask you please, turn all the lights off when you're done.
And we're all hoping that the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act report comes out soon so we can prove exactly what we're talking about.
I'll give you the code for the Lockbox, you ready? 3581.
1,400 a month.
And you can go look at it, and then if you're interested in an application, then call us back and we'll tell you how to go about doing that. You're welcome, bye-bye.
Well, the first thing we do is run credit, and then we need to verify 3 times the monthly rent and discount. Okay?
Yeah, they look for everything they can find. The neighbors were having a barbecue the other night. I was having a barbecue. They decided to call me because smoke was coming over their fence. They called the police on me.
Really?
And they stood up on tables and started filming me over my fence. which is, you know, illegal.
He just disabled my computer.
Oh yeah, that's been happening all day.
So I'm gonna have to write you a number receipt because.
However we need to do it. Let's see, so the printer at the federal courthouse was broken today. This one is disabled, so I'd be willing to bet when I get home that my printer will be disabled.
Hopefully not.
No, I just figured out these patterns of how the stalking and harassment works, and I can figure out what's going to happen later in the day by the several events that take place. It should sound crazy if it's never happened to you, because it's pretty ridiculous. It's called a PSYOP, a psychological operation. And when you explain it, you're supposed to sound crazy. So, yeah, they base it around something called the Minnesota Multiphasic Inventory. It's a 600-question test that police, fire, people in authority have to take to show what their
Age and age management.
type of personality is, if they're a psychopath or a liar or things like that, or if they're delusional or schizophrenic. So they found some questions on there, like it asks you, are people following you? And in this thing, people literally follow you through town.
Okay.
And if
hold
so,
on.
if you answer
Look it
yes,
up just a second.
then they try to call you delusional or schizophrenic, even if you've documented it. So that's pretty interesting. It's quite the conundrum.
You're the one that has the website, right?
Correct. BARREDIN.US.
Oh, okay, I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Good.
sorry about that, but we'll go ahead and get you a regular receipt as soon as you're not getting mail, so.
Well, I get some mail. I just don't get the ones that are advising me that I'm going to have some kind of fine or something like that, or if I owe an important bill that's going to be sent to collections or something like that. So I'm constantly put in this situation of fighting through all that. So it's a nonstop thing.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for your help.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Baghdadi. Good big dog.
So now what they're doing is I park my trailer in front of my house to unload stuff I buy from storage units. And the people snap one photo of my trailer parked in front of my house connected to my truck. Connected to my truck. And they try to charge me $150. So even if they're not going to fine me $150 after all, I have to spend the hour on the phone. I have to have the surprise of having a fine when I go pay my rent. It's just it's like and he's from the South, and he had a really simple way of explaining things. And he said, basically, the goal of this is to pester you to death. And that's what they want to do. I'm gonna ask this guy something real quick. Hey, how you doing? Hey, what language is that up on the sign? Do you know what language that is on the sign? I was just Willis. Oh, my dog's gonna bark at you. Don't tell me here. Do you speak English? No. Oh, okay. Then would you talk if I don't speak English? You knew enough English to say no. So the damn, the barbecue smells good though. The guy comes in and leans in my window. Oh, so apparently there's some trolls here. Imagine that. Imagine that. You know you're doing good showing up. You know you're doing the right thing. If you have trolls showing up and trying to twist things. Alright, so I should go through the comments here. Let me. John Doe. That's what they call a person at the morgue that they can't figure their name out. Nice name, dude. Another way you can tell trolls is that never use their real name, their face. They try to hide. They try to say things like this whistleblower. Tried to make stuff up about Trump. Just hides. Now the guy's disappeared. And I guarantee they didn't disappear him. The guy's hiding, just like these people always do. The sociopathic and psychopathic narcissists. When you figure out their game, when they can't trick you, when they can't fool you, when they can't get over on you, they run and hide like cockroaches when the light gets turned on. There's no closer way to describe that than if you turn the light on and there's cockroaches, they run for the darkest, deepest crack they can find to get away. They will lie, distract, divert, whatever tactic they have to get out of a real conversation that has to do with facts and truth. They'll do anything. I was talking to a guy at the dollar store the other night. He's an old guy wearing a United States flag hat. I said, "Hey man, I like your hat." We started talking. He seemed like a pretty conservative guy, old school guy, old guy. He was like probably 75, just a guess. Give me 10 years, I don't know. We started talking about different stuff like that. Sounded like he was pretty educated. Who knows? He might be one of them. Who knows? But he seemed like he was pretty educated, and he was talking about how, yeah, they don't care about collateral damage. They'll take down an airplane with 300 people on it just to get one person. That actually happened in Russia. That's probably what the guy was referring to. So he was either just an informed guy, or that was one of their slick ways to threaten me, saying, you know, like, we don't care who we hurt around you. Because that's how they do it sometimes. People that don't understand that, they'll talk about things, and then sometimes it'll sound like a covert threat. So you just don't worry about it. I listened to Snowden talking on Joe Rogan's show, and he basically said, just don't live in fear. Go forward, don't live in fear. Live your life. So that's what I do. I have no fear. And there's a lot at stake. There's a lot. My health, my family, threatened all of us. Through me, they tell me they're gonna hurt my kids, hurt me, turn me into a John Doe, say that I'm a ghost, that nobody sees me, nobody hears me, nobody will miss me if I'm gone, all kinds of different stuff. And I guess the only way to keep is just to not give a shit. Hey. I mean, I care about my well-being. I care about my kids, obviously.
kept them in my life, their whole life. Fought for them. Last 3 battles. Won. Where eventually I got full custody. Care about my family. But some things are too important to just let go and be quiet about. Yeah, some things are just too important. And some people may say, "Oh, well, that's a mental disorder. If you're getting threatened and you're not going to stop, then you don't care about yourself or your family." Actually, I do care about myself and my family, and that's why I'm doing this, because of my favorite word, posterity. A guy that was, him and his parents were both literally in Japanese internment camps here in the United States, and he collected Japanese internment camp stuff, photos, uniforms, clothing, name tags, all kinds of different stuff, letters, postcards. He has the largest Japanese internment camp collection in the United States. And again, that might have been some kind of metaphor, but he collected all that stuff. And we would have conversations. He would come into my antique shop all the time and he'd find stuff. I had some pretty cool stuff that he bought from me that I would find out and about, doing my thing. And he gave me his business card. It just said Jim. That's it. Just big J-I-M and his phone number. But he told me he did what he did for posterity. It wasn't just a collection. It wasn't just a hobby. He did it for future generations to understand, what can happen. This can happen over and over and over. People in power, sometimes that power corrupts. A lot of times it does. Power, money corrupts. And people decide that they want slaves to work for them so they can enjoy all the fruits of life and not have to do anything. And then when those slaves wake up and say, "Hey, no, you know what? We like being slaves. We want to do something about us." I want my phone. Hold on. All right, we're back. Phone down, phone down. This isn't the greatest phone holder here. Sorry about that. Yeah, when the slaves wake up, owners try to find a way to control those slaves, and sometimes they go to the point of internment camps. And they're not always physical. Sometimes they are, like the name of my website, Barred In, B-A-R-R-E-D, in, barred in, like into a virtual prison, where they have enough power and capital. Power comes from the capital usually, to control other people and keep the slaves, to keep the other slaves in check, just like they did in the Civil War. They used psychology. They used the women. They would draw and quarter a young slave that would stand up and want to fight back. They would tie him up to horses and they would rip him in pieces in front of all of the others, to traumatize them, to create trauma-based control. So the next time when one of the was saying, "Hey, you know what? This is bullshit. I don't want to do this anymore, man. I have my GoPro going. I got that. I'm going to go ahead and upload that video later so you can see it." But he had pretty much what looked like what MS-13 has for tattoos. He was tatted all over his face, all over his neck, all the way down to his fingers. They weren't artistic tattoos. They were
Sorry, I keep smelling weed. There must be some dispensaries real close by here. Anyway, the camera went out right when that guy was standing on the corner doing that, pounding on his head. And as soon as the signal was lost, he started coming my way, walked straight towards me, and up to my window and was holding a blue straw in my window, just holding it at me. So I just aimed my camera at him, and then he waved, kept going. Willis went nuts, rightfully so. So I was just talking about the cartel, tweeting about it. Trump asking the people if we think that he should get together with the president of Mexico and fight the cartel. And I responded to his tweet, yeah, start in West Phoenix and work your way down. It's like, guarantee you they're here. And they're part of this harassment that I go through. Pretty damn sure that Hillary had the cartel kill jet lag one. What was his name? Good God, I'm tired. I'm sorry, my sleep's been interrupted. Oh, that's all right, Willie. It's just the pest control guy. Just the pest control guy. Should I block John Doe? I'm driving, so I'm not really seeing the comments too much here. Hear it real quick. Oh, maybe not real quick. Jeez. Let's see. Thomas Coran asked if I have helicopters flying over me. Not directly over my house anymore, which I live by an airport, so I always like to point out all of the possibilities. But for a while, the second that I would post something, do an interview with somebody, I'd get multiple helicopters flying directly over my house, very low, shake the whole house, but that has slowed down. I haven't had one fly directly over my house in a while. Tanya Bauer says hi from Australia. How you doing, Tanya? Okay, so this John Doe guy, I'm going to go ahead and read one of his comments here. He says, all I can do is judge the facts. So that's what John D'Souza calls fact finders. They're not true investigators, and they usually never come to an actual realistic conclusion. Look him up. Listen to the videos. Go to one of his seminars. He'll explain to you exactly what that means. Worked in the FBI for 20. So that says all I can do is judge the facts that Barden and other targeted individuals give. He put that in quotations. I have video documentation of mine, John.
Says, I'm looking at it and just am not seeing the same thing, and neither is anyone else who doesn't also believe it. So, Mr. No, uh, targeting happens to many different types of people from many different types of people. There are different targeting programs. Each target has a specific customized targeting program for them, and not all targets experience the exact same type of harassment. Some experience just gang stalking, workplace mobbing. Some targets experience all of the technology or just some of the technology that's used. Some targets get all of it, everything that are majorly targeted. So you're not always going to hear a targeted individual explain the exact same story, because not all targeted individuals experience the exact same thing. So, to answer your question, Jennifer Burns. All right, so yeah, this guy John Doe is a troll for sure. Uh, He says, Thomas Coran, helicopters exist to go up in the sky, so yeah, I see helicopters above me. So this has to do with timing and repetition, what I've explained before, and your social media, all of your communications are surveilled. Your phone is surveilled. This can be accomplished through the NSA after the Patriot Act. Edward Snowden has released information about this, and if all of your information can be surveilled, and you can be basically searched through your social media, all of your communications without due process. They know what you're doing and saying at all times, and as a reaction to a lot of that, they will fly a helicopter directly over your house at a very low level, and they will switch the pitch of their blades to where it shakes your entire house, and it's usually minutes after you put out some kind of information that is detrimental to some criminal's future. So it has nothing to do with helicopters just fly around in the air. It has to do with timing and repetition. When it happens over and over, when it's happened for the 20th or 30th time, minutes after you have divulged some important information, you start to understand that there actually is a pattern, and that is happening as a reaction and punishment, part of a psychological operation. So thanks for asking these questions, Mr. Doe. These are easy to answer. Native 321 says, we love you, Michael. We support you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love you too. I mean that. Oh, shit. I might need to end this live stream. I have an appointment. Somebody coming to my house at 2 o'clock. And they just messaged and said, on the way over. Well, I hope they're coming from like Scottsdale, because that's a 40-minute drive, because it's what, 1:20? Is my clock wrong? My battery died earlier. I thought I reset it correctly. Anybody know what time it is in Mountain Time? I think we're in Mountain Central. Phoenix, Arizona time. Let's see here. Why would that guy be on his way to my house right now? Here comes more. There's been a lot of homeless people lately coming up to my car, and some of the ones that I try to decipher if they are homeless and they need help, or if they're being LARPy. This guy was just out running around in traffic just now. This guy over on the right, he's out in the middle of the road. Oh yeah, I know Willis. Here he comes. No, you're probably not going to be able to find John Doe on Facebook because he's, yeah, there's no way. That's not a real name. Same guy was talking with me last time. Yeah. Welcome to Phoenix. This guy was me up last time. People were saying he's clearly disabled. Why are you giving a disabled guy a hard time? So Will, this is the second. Yeah, I know Willis. I know. Yeah, when somebody comes up to the window, your dog is going to want to protect you. That's all right, buddy. That's all right. That's all right. Got big rigs driving in front of me. Pulling through the intersection. I've got the green light. It's always a circus. Oh, the freeway's closed 35th. Of course it is. Huh. Alright, I have to go. I need to get this guy back. Maybe I'll hop back on here. I don't know. But I can almost guarantee on the way home. It's... well, everybody's gone now, so I was talking about ending this live stream anyway. Phone overheated again. I've got the air on full blast in here. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Thanks for hanging out with me on my drive. If the guy shows up again, I think they just make fake accounts, use those to troll, and then delete them. Who knows? Who knows? The guy actually threw me some fastballs right down the middle. That's how you hit home runs. So thanks to that guy. Appreciate it, man. All right, everybody. Have a good day. Talk to you later.